It is shocking that our favorite show is coming to an end. Yes, South African Idols. I'm wondering why. Why is such a good business opting actually to go and stop this amazing event that has brought us many talents in our communities, and people have actually become or found a business into what they've been doing? I am sure this has been your favorite show, as it's been my favorite show over the years. But why would a business opt to close it? My name is TJ, a businessman, and I play in the real estate space. And when I saw this, I was thinking to myself, why would such a show actually come to an end? Is this not a good business? Of course it was. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of a breakdown on why this business has actually decided to close. And like what it is, we talk about business on this show. And here is a couple of things that we can actually learn on why such a business would actually close. So let me give you the backstory of Idols South Africa. Just in case you didn't know, Idols is actually an international franchise. So which actually basically means that Mnet at the time, I think this has been what, almost 10, 15 years ago, they went out and then they bought the franchise. And within this franchise, I want to explain what a franchise is. So a franchise is basically when you have your cooking recipe and you decide that I'm going to teach other people how to make this recipe. And then you kind of like make it through to say, my recipe, this is how you make it. And you put policies, procedures, and how you are going to be making these recipes and how you can take it to the market. And then you commercialize. There's specific do's and don'ts. We have seen franchises like Nando's, KFC's, and many of these others that we have seen all over the country. But is it a bad thing to run a franchise? Yes and no. But I also want to speak to the fact of saying no. Because when you're running a franchise, you are running the recipe of someone. So there's a big brother. And that big brother is always watching. You need to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm going to explain a little bit further on to maybe, yes, it's a good business to buy into a franchise. But I'll dive in one day actually in talking about franchises, the benefits of doing franchises, because there is plenty of lots. But the first one that I want to point out today is that when you're running a franchise, it comes with the recipe, the secret sauce. So you don't have to think about it. The secret sauce is already there. And all you need to do is to follow the guidelines. Like Mnet, they bought a franchise and they ran it. And they've been running it successfully. Over the years, we have seen so many idols that have come through. And if you don't know what Idols was been all about, is that they would go out there in the communities and they would discover talent. And with that, they'll put the talent on the limelight. But not just put them on the limelight, they would educate them. And you would literally see the progress of some of these guys. I have my favorites, people that I've seen over the years, but I'm not going to mention who, but I'm sure you do have yours in the comments. Let me know who's been your favorite for the Idols. But today I want to speak specifically around why a business would opt to stop operating, because that's what they have done. They've taken Idols, the brand, and now they're saying to us that it is not going to be there. This is the season finale. So we are not going to be seeing some of our favorite faces on TV anymore. But why would they do this? And I'm hoping that we can learn a couple of things from here, because this is business. Do business survive for a long time? I don't know. So I'm going to dive into why a business would opt to stop operating. I'm going to give you around about 3 points there. And my first point is going to be around the big D. So I'm actually going to give you 3 Ds, yeah? 3 Ds. And my first D is that sometimes there is a divorce. Yes. What do I mean by that? Actually, guess what? They say statistically 50% of partnerships end up in a sell-off. I'm talking about business here, right? So 50% of some form of partnerships end up in a divorce or just moving on. So is this the reality of Mnet and the Idols, right? Where they bought their franchise. And maybe this is a divorce. I don't know. I am not here to talk about what has happened in the Mnet. It is not in my space, but I am here to talk about what can we learn on what has happened here. And we can apply it to our business. These things are happening every day. So what can we learn as we read? But what's behind the surface that we can learn and apply within our business? So if maybe there was a divorce, the question that we want to ask ourselves is that if you are in a partnership with be it in a franchise or be it in a partnership with people that you have brought together, when the D-Day comes, which is the divorce, what are you going to do? Are you prepared? Did you even think about it? Is your contract talking about it? I don't know. But they say 50%, so 1 in 2. Yes, they will end up in a divorce. The other one, the second D that I'm going to give you is disagreement. Partnership fails, operators, they move on. And what was promised in a business might not be what the franchise might be getting. So for that reason, they may say, let's shut this down. Is this what has happened to Idol South Africa? I don't know. Like I did say, it's not in my space to comment. But what we might want to talk about here is, whilst you are running your business or thinking about to jump into a business, and now you've got a partner or you have come through to buy into a franchise, the day that there is going to be a disagreement, does your contract stipulate what's going to happen? Do you have the final say? Does your franchisor have the final say? What is it that you're allowed to negotiate or not? And all of this can actually make a business to cease or stop operating, because now you are in a big disagreement and you are not seeing the future based on this disagreement. The third one I want to speak to is, remember I said I want to give you 3 Ds, yeah? And by the way, if you have your own D that you want us to engage into in the comments, let me know what your Ds are. I've given you a divorce. I've given you a disagreement. The last one is de-stress. My friends, as a businessman, as a fellow businessman, someone else who's been doing business, made some money, lost some money. The reality of business is that business is hard. Yes. I'm going to say that again, because a lot of us, maybe we want to come through from where we be employees and we want to jump into this and we think it's all rosy. Oh, you know, TJ, he spends time at home. Oh, you know, TJ, he doesn't work so hard. Oh, you know, well, my friends, I am here to tell you that business is hard. If business is hard, statistically, they say that 20% of businesses fail in the first year. First 12 months. Businesses fell. But we know that Idol South Africa surpassed that, right? They've been going on, I think, maybe for around about just below 15 years. And the question that we want to ask is that, so why would they sell? Because they passed, right? The 20% mark. But guess what? They also say statistically, 90% of businesses actually fail in their lifetime, right? So could there be something that went wrong there? I don't know. But remember, we're not talking about Mnet here or idols themselves, but we are talking about what can we learn from here. So speaking of this D, we went through COVID recently. Yeah. And it was a distressing time for many businesses, including myself. So how did you weather the terrain? Could you have needed some more investors coming on board? Could you have needed more credit? Was your business pandemic proof? We hear a lot of these businesses that speak of pandemic proof, right? But bearing in mind, there was other people actually that made lots of money in the same period where others were not. I can speak to idols in the context of how I know of, let's say, DSTV and things like that. And then maybe we can say the digital era maybe was a threat. Again, I'd said, I don't know. But basically what I'm trying to say here is that in the context of our businesses, is if we're to go under some form of a distress, how can we make sure that we are going to circumvent, or how can we manage this so that we don't have to opt to stop operating? That was my 3 Ds there, ladies and gentlemen, that I just wanted to share with you in terms of how actually a business will opt to stop existing. And I don't know what is the situations of us getting the final finale of the idols, but could there be some opportunities that are hidden? Yes, in some of these things, as businesses die or as businesses opt to stop, right? Whatever it is, could there be an opportunity for you and I? And yes, my friends, I did ask myself and I said, TJ, what may happen after this? Are there opportunities? Right, so the obvious, we've spoken about it. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if this information is being helpful to you, we are always talking about business here, real estate, money, and if it is information that is giving you value, you can hit the subscription button so that you can know whenever the next video is coming out. But I want to jump on to my next point, which is talking about the opportunities here. Remember, this is a franchise. So franchisors, so the people that own the franchise, they are consistently selling their franchise, right? So because they are selling their franchise, potentially, because Mnet have decided to say that they are going to stop, so maybe they're throwing in the towel on their franchise, and for that reason, there's an opportunity. Someone like you and I don't know the value of that franchise. I have no idea of the terms and conditions, but it may be an opportune time for someone else to come in and say, hey, I want to buy into this franchise. So in old Nando's, right, you have all seen where you're going past, it says new management, right? Same Nando's, but just says new management. It basically means that the old franchisee is gone and there's another one that came to buy, right? So there is an opportunity here of another person coming in to buy. It's already a brand that we know. It's already something that is running. And for this reason, you're buying in an existing business. That's the cool thing about franchisee or franchises, right? That's the cool thing about it. The current operators, right? So remember, this is a franchise. So let's assume that you're in a franchise and you're an operator, but you don't own the franchise, the contract part of it. You didn't pay any money, so you're an operator, senior manager, that kind of thing. There may be an opportunity here because you've been running it for the last 5 to 10 years or whatever it is. There's an opportunity that when the current business owner is throwing in the towel, you might as well jump in and say, hey, I've been running this. I know this. I have the skill. And at that time, maybe you can go to your bank. The only thing that's lacking here is that you don't have the money, but you have the skill. You've been doing it. So there is an opportunity you experience and you could easily come in and buy within that business. So you're moving in from being an employee into a business owner. Could this be the situation? I don't know. Could Sumizi buy this? I don't know. Hint. I don't know. But the point here that we're talking about here is, ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself in an opportune time like this one, is it not an opportunity? Maybe it is. I am speaking in the positive, but it can also be in the negative, right? So what may happen is, in the negative, in the positive, like I've spoken, but now in the negatives, the reality of it is that we have seen so many talent coming from as far as under Durban, coming from the roots of Johannesburg, wherever all over the country, and they have come and they have won idols, and they have become musicians, business people. But the reality is that if such a thing is to happen, the death of idols is upon us. The discovering of talent will come to an end. There won't be idols anymore. Right? It will be gone. We won't be stuck on our TVs anymore, looking for our favorite wooden mics. All of that will be gone. The show will be no more. It's a reality. What about jobs? Randall. So is he gonna, well, the last season he wasn't there. Okay, so sorry, I'm speaking about Randall. But I'm just talking about, there's so many people. There's cameramen, there's production people, the whole show. Oh, by the way, they work for MTN. So for Mnet, not MTN, for Mnet, right? So they could be deployed elsewhere. But let's imagine if idols was the only business here. Job losses might happen because of this, right? So the other thing that we want to speak to is here. I have seen literally some person who used to run a franchise and he was an operator. He wasn't able to buy the franchise. But basically as an operator, what he did was, when the franchisor decided he's not going to do it, he took his entire team, and that's my last tip, he brought in his entire team and another idol lookalike. Nando's, Galitos, KFC, they're all chicken. But their spice is different, my friend. That's what business is all about. Adding on your different spice on something that is existing. VW cars, Audi cars, Mercedes cars. They're all cars, but they have a different seasoning. So the same recipe, but something different. So my friends, as a business owner, right? What is the lessons here that we can? I have spoken about so many lessons that we can learn around here. But I want to point us to three things. Number one is that not all business will survive a long time. So as a business owner, have a plan B. Maybe you need to invest in property. Whilst you're making money here and it's still great, maybe take your money, invest in property in South Africa, in Mauritius, in London, in America, in Australia, wherever. But have a plan B to your business. It's very important to have a plan B to your business. The second one is that whilst other business die, others emerge. So the point there is that you need to keep learning so that you can reinvent thyself. I'm going to say that again. Because this happened during COVID. A lot of businesses came to a halt and a lot of people couldn't reinvent themselves. So they got stuck in the old something that they had. So as a business person, what is the lesson here? The lesson is you need to be continuously out there learning. Keeping the learning, keeping the learning, keeping the learning. You don't have to be learning the same stuff that you're. Maybe you just need to branch off a little bit. Because you never know when the reinventing is needed. I've had to reinvent myself a couple of times. As a business person, yeah, I've had to reinvent myself. I reinvented from being an employee into a farmer. I reinvented myself from a dying business of being a farmer, chicken farmer, and I went into cars. I reinvented myself from there when I made some good money and I went into real estate. So you can reinvent yourself. It is important that you do that, or else you might be a dinosaur and then you die. And the last thing is that as an employee or a business owner, the one that we are talking about here, always have an exit strategy. Oh, TJ, what do you mean by that? It's my business, I own it. Oh no, TJ, this is my business that my father actually gave it to me. It runs in the family. Oh, we have had this shop for a long time. I get it. What if there is that one particular day that things are going to go happen? Wrong exit, COVID comes through and you have no exit, my friend. So what is your exit plan? It speaks to the first point of what is your plan B. That's what it speaks to, right? So in the midst of you having what you are having, you're on top of the mountain. Things are going well, right? And now this business stops. You take back the franchise to the franchisor, and now what? So before you even start any business, whilst you are doing the plans, whilst you're putting it together, what is the exit strategy? I've never seen a building that is being built with no exit strategy. There's always an exit. There's a fire door there. Is there a window there? Right? So always have an exit strategy. Improve your exit strategy. Have a look at it once every year. Where you are in life as you go along. My friends, I've been talking here today about the business, about a brand that we have all fallen in love with, which is Idols, and it's coming to an end. And I said to myself, what can we learn from here? And I'm hoping that you have learned something. And with that, my friends, if you have learned something, you can pass this information to a fellow businessman. And besides doing that, you can also subscribe so that the more we are going to be talking about these conversations, you are in the know. It is ITJ. I'm hoping that you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next video where we teach a little bit more.